Now out front now, Jack Scarola, who has represented nearly 20 women against Jeffrey Epstein, has spent 18 years litigating cases against him. Also with me, journalist Gretchen Carlson, former Fox News anchor and the co-founder of Lift Our Voices. So, Jack, when you hear Maria Farmer talk about her case now, and you hear what she just told us, how significant do you think her story is?
I think her story is significant. I think anything and everything that directly challenges Donald Trump's account of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is a matter of significance. Donald Trump himself in 2002, in the New York Magazine article exploring, profiling Jeffrey Epstein, acknowledged a 15-year-long close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein at that time. He spoke about Epstein's association with beautiful women, the recognition that many of them are very young. And during the period of the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, anyone associating with Jeffrey Epstein on a regular basis had to have been deaf, dumb, and blind not to recognize the fact that something very unusual was going on in Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with young girls. So the more information there is that helps to establish and cement that relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, the more likely it's going to be that the unanswered questions about Jeffrey Epstein ultimately get answered. And there are many questions that are still unanswered.
There are, and so many across this country who want answers to them. You know, Gretchen, when you hear Maria speak, you know, you made the decision in your career to speak out about harassment. You've been fighting for victims of sexual assault. And she talks about 30 years, that she has waited 30 years to be able to tell this story of her, you know, and she had called the FBI multiple times. So what do you hear when you hear her speak?
Well, one of the things my lawyers said to me, the most important thing they said is that it ain't fun to come forward, and I can attest to that. It's very difficult. It's a very personal decision. But also, they warned me that people will not believe you, they will malign you, some may kill you. So it is an incredibly personal decision to decide to speak your own voice. What I fight against now is that some people don't even have the ability to speak their voice because they're silenced through non-disclosure agreements and other things like that. But somehow I made this crucial decision in my life. I dug deep, I came forward, I persevered, and now I've dedicated most of my life to making workplaces safer for other survivors, millions of people that I will never meet. The interesting thing is I don't even own my own voice. You know, I may never own my own voice, and that's why when I listen to Maria be able to say what actually happened to her, you know, this is why I do the work I do, because I don't own my own story, and people are often fascinated by that. I may never own it.
Right, and the fact that she's able to speak out, and that
huge.
but you know, taking 30 years to do it. I mean, Jack, when you talk about finding out about the relationship between Epstein and the people who were around him a lot, people who were close to him, one of whom multiple people have now said to us, a very good friend of his, was Donald Trump's. Back in 2017, you listed President Trump as a potential witness in a civil lawsuit against Epstein. Now, Trump has talked about the relationship, as you mentioned, right? But in the early 2000s, he's talked about that he had a falling out with Epstein. He never said what it was about. He did say, though, that it had nothing to do with what we have subsequently learned about Epstein. Here's what he said.
With regard to Jeffrey Epstein, did you have any suspicion that he was molesting young women?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea. I haven't spoken to him in many, many years, but I did have no idea.
In light of what you know, Jack, in light of hearing stories like Maria's, what do you say to that?
I don't find that denial to be credible in any respect at all.
Because from what you know, and again, I want to emphasize here, you spent nearly 2 decades litigating. You believe that there would be, you say you would have to be deaf or blind to not know if you were him.
Absolutely. We know that Donald Trump spent a good deal of time with Jeffrey Epstein in a variety of locations. We know that his name appears on the flight log manifests of Jeffrey Epstein when Epstein was traveling from various locations here in the United States to other locations around the world. We know from the testimony of young women also on those airplanes what was going on during those flights. Now, I don't have information that ties Donald Trump directly to those abuses of children, but it would be very difficult not to have understood what was happening.
So, Gretchen, I guess the question is, are we going to get more answers? You got Mike Johnson now, after pushing for disclosure, saying we're not going to have a vote till at least September?
Yeah. I mean, a couple of things could happen here. First of all, I think that Trump and his team are hoping that the story is going to go away. Maybe they're going to get to those 10 Republicans who so far say they're going to vote with the Democrats to release all of the information, millions of documents, like they did with the Big Beautiful Bill. I would not be surprised to see that happen. But it could also continue to erupt over the next 5 to 6 weeks with people, it's moved out of the political sphere now, it's into pop culture.
Yeah.
And once you get into that realm where 80% of Americans have heard about this story and they want to have answers, it's a very dangerous territory.
Thank you both very much.